A fractured week comes to an end. We think, we hope. Plus, Jerry shoots back on Dan. All of that to come on this edition of the Locked On Commanders podcast. Come and join us.
You are Locked On Commanders, your daily podcast on the Washington Commanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's up, everybody, and Commanders fans? We welcome you aboard, one and all, to the Locked On Commanders podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, your daily podcast covering the Washington Commanders and always more. Free and available on all platforms, including YouTube and the WUSA 9 Plus app on your Roku or Amazon Fire Stick. We thank you for making us your first listen and your first view of the day. My partner, David Harrison, is on special assignment. I'm Chris Russell, a.k.a. The Rooster. We are covering the Commanders for me on the Team 980 and the Audacy app. David, Commander Country on SI.com's Fan Nation. You can follow us on Twitter at DHarrison82, at RussellMania621, and at LO Commanders. That's right. Today's episode of Locked On Commanders is presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick between 2 and 5 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com. Use the promo code Locked On. All right, we start and we are off and running. So the big news on Saturday, as a fallout to Ron Rivera meeting with team doctors and medical personnel, and Al Bellamy, the head athletic trainer, of course, after he spoke to the media on Friday afternoon, a press conference that I was monitoring and involved in, was that Carson Wentz has a fractured finger of his throwing hand. Now, we're not exactly sure what finger, nor does it really matter where the fracture is, what the fracture is. That's what the Commanders are sending Carson Wentz reportedly to Los Angeles to get a second opinion, to meet with another specialist early this week, possibly as early as Monday. The timeline was a little unclear. Here's one expected reported timeline. This injury could take up to 6 weeks. 6 weeks in order for it to heal and in order for Carson Wentz to be back. Now, listen. Who knows exactly what they're going to find? Who knows exactly what the situation is going to be? We hope to have more answers early in the week. By Tuesday, I'm sure somebody in the building will leak it to a member of the national media, and the news will come out that way, right? That being said, here's what we know. There are both good and bad or not so good benefits or things to this situation, right? First of all, give credit to Carson Wentz for fighting tooth and nail. Listen, he wasn't very good on Thursday night. We all know that. He had the one touchdown drop from Curtis Samuel. They were wretched on third down, all of that. Again, the statistics ugly, but he fought. He hung in there. He gave it his all on a cold, windy night. You know, his hand, he was putting it in that little warmer. Clearly, again, he was dealing with some sort of fracture. We don't know exactly what kind, how bad, what have you. But clearly he was dealing with, as we come to find out, a fractured finger, right? In addition to the shoulder, the throwing shoulder with the bicep strain. So you have to give Carson a little bit of credit, right, for being tough as nails, for fighting through that game. Now, you can make an argument, and let's make at least the question, what was he doing being allowed to play in the second half? right? Shouldn't they have taken x-rays at halftime? And I don't believe Ron Rivera was ever asked directly that, but it would seem on the surface that they did not, However, I know in talking to a few people off record in the football profession and in the medical profession, it is possible that because of the swelling of the hand and the fingers or finger, that the fracture did not show up right away. But still, logically, right, common sense, something NFL teams don't use a lot of, it would tell us, hey, you know what? Maybe he shouldn't have been out there on a cold, windy night when his hand was kind of blown up a little bit. Now, it was good enough, again, to grasp the football and make some decent throws, specifically the touchdown drop from Curtis Samuel on third down later on that series to Curtis Samuel. Again, he came out after halftime and played the rest of the game. Again, didn't throw well, didn't play well, but made just barely, I guess, enough plays to help his team win and didn't make, more importantly, the killer mistakes. Now, again, the good and bad benefits potentially, or good and not so good benefits, is this. Assuming he misses some time, which, again, is a pretty safe assumption, there's a 70% threshold of snaps played that triggers the the deal, which was a deal that had a condition, a conditional draft pick is what I guess we call it, right? So if he plays more than 70% of the snaps this year, which he was certainly on target to do, but I believe it was week 11 or week 12. If he plays more than 70%, then the Colts get a second round pick. If he plays less than 70%, then the Washington Commanders only have to give up a third round pick to the Colts. Now, that doesn't seem like a huge deal, but it kind of is, right? Nobody wants to give up a second round pick, which could be, I don't know, 36, 37, 38, 39, somewhere in that range overall. You'd much rather give up a pick in the late 60s or early 70s. Clearly, I mean, there's a difference, right? So that's number one. We start with that. That could be a good benefit to this, right? Because Wentz would be challenged to meet that 70% if he has to miss 4 games, 5 games, somewhere in that range. And maybe somebody can do the math better than me. If he has to miss 4 or 5 games, he might not even have a shot when he comes back. But again, we'll have to see how many games he actually misses. There's a chance, a small one, that he doesn't miss any time at all, right? If Wentz tries to play with the injury, he could struggle even more than he has, right? So this could be the opportunity, right, that the organization clearly did not want at the end of last year, but it could be the opportunity to get a healthy quarterback in, making it a positive. What's worse, a healthy Taylor Heineke and a chomping at the bit Taylor Heineke, or a banged up shoulder, bicep, and banged up finger, fractured finger of Carson Wentz? Well, of course, the opportunity to get a healthy quarterback in and to not play through something is now at the Commanders' doorstep. The offense gets a different look and a different feel. It gets more mobility. It gets a little more savviness, in my opinion. And an off-schedule playmaker. Someone who's used to running, scrambling around, not always pretty, not always perfect, but somebody who is used to running for his life, somebody who is used to extending plays, more throwing on the run, keeping his eyes up, maybe tweaking his mechanics. That's what you get when you go away from Carson Wentz. We'll get to Taylor Heineke and Sam Howell in just a sec. You could help that offensive line. Of course, you could also run more into sacks, but it wasn't a problem really for Heineke last year. And really, if you think about it, right, Wentz ran into plenty of sacks or hits. I mean, there was a 3rd and 2 the other night, Thursday night in Chicago, where he rolled to his right, had nobody really open, nobody to throw to. Instead of course, lofting it out of bounds and dumping it, Wentz took a sack. He rolled right into it, which is going to happen, but you got to get rid of the football. You got to keep your eyes up. You got to get rid of the football to not take sacks. The offense is likely to be more reliant on the short and intermediate passing game and focused on that instead of the intermediate to long. That's been a problem all year. We know that. I don't think Carson Wentz and Scott Turner have been on the same page in terms of what works most effectively in terms of getting the ball out of his hands, getting the ball into playmakers' hands, getting the ball away from the quarterback so that it helps the offensive line. If it's several weeks, meaning more than just 1 week, several weeks, we're going to miss the Carson Wentz going back to Indianapolis drama at the end of October. That's the day before Halloween. It's 2 games from now. You're going to miss that, assuming that he's out. Also, after that, I believe it's the very next game after that. On a Monday night, Carson Wentz returning to Philadelphia. Now, he's already played the Eagles, as we remember, and it did not go well. We get to miss all of that if Carson Wentz is ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks, unless he tries to come back, unless they let him back, unless it becomes a Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott type situation. You get the point. We get to miss all of that. That's good. This team does not need to deal with that. We don't need to deal with that. We got enough storylines. We got enough drama with Dandy Dan. We don't need any of that. The not so good, real quickly as I run through that, actually, you know what? We'll do that, guys, on the other side. And we're going to talk about Sam Howell and whether he should be the replacement for Taylor Heineke if, I should say for Carson Wentz, if indeed Carson Wentz has to miss some time, which again, it's expected that he will. We'll do that next, along with Jerry Jones addressing Dan Snyder. All right, guys, let me level with you. I'm 49. I'm out of shape. I think you can see that. And I'm out of gas most days. I'm exhausted. I'm falling asleep left and right. Couldn't make it through a day of college football, Saturday night college football without passing out. Dad bod? I don't know if I have a dad bod. I have a crazy Commanders bod associated with covering the never-ending circus for 14 years like I have. I don't have time to work out all the time. I try. I went to the gym Sunday before the NFL game started, and it felt good, but I don't have time to do that 6-7 days a week. I want the energy and the body that I once had. Guys, if you're feeling like you just can't get in shape, it's not your fault. As men age, our bodies naturally lose free testosterone. It's called the man hormone. It happens to every man and can make it difficult to stay in shape and to be energetic and active. All the things that I think most men my age or even younger or certainly older face. That's because when you were younger, you were at the peak of your testosterone production. What some have called the winner's hormone, or again, the man hormone. Wouldn't it be nice to get the winner's edge again, right? Or your old swagger back? Right in your 2 shoes, in your step, little swag in your step. If you want more energy to counter the negative physical effects of aging, we have an easy answer for you. It's our friends at Nugenix Total T. That's right. Testosterone booster with Testofen will help you get back the clock, re-energize your workouts, get you better results at the gym, and help you look and feel like the man you really want to be. Nugenix Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like Testofen. It's been validated in 5 clinical studies and shown to boost free testosterone levels in men because Nugenix Total T boosts free testosterone that the aging process robs, guys. You'll feel stronger, leaner, with more energy and drive and more passion, too. Your partner, if you have one, will notice the difference. Now get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text NFL to 231-231. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text NFL to 231-231. That's text NFL to 231-231. Of course, message and data rates may apply, guys. Terms apply. Available at nugenix.com/terms. And we also have another partner that's awesome that's going to help you feel better about yourself and get your day started just like it does for me, and that's called AG1. I started taking AG1, guys, because I wanted a supplement that tastes great, and I wanted to see what the hype was all about. I was tired of sucking down B6 and B12 vitamins, which I was doing every day to give myself that boost of energy and to give myself, I guess, the needed start that I had to have every morning because coffee wasn't good enough. And I certainly wasn't getting enough sleep. So what is AG1? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Special blend of ingredients help you and your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, all of that great stuff. Here's what I do. I take it with some sugar-free juice in the morning and knock AG1 right out of the ballpark and a couple of sips to start my day. It's even before I have my coffee, which I have on my way into the radio station. It's lifestyle friendly. Again, no matter what diet you're on, it's less than 1 gram of sugar. It's great if you're a diabetic, what have you. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day, or you can mix it in sugar-free juice like I do. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements. To make it easy, Athletic Greens AG1 is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NFL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NFL network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
You are Locked On Commanders.
Hi, I'm back. Yes, you are Locked On Commanders. All right, let's get started with our second segment here. So again, finishing up just on some early thoughts. I'm sure David and I will discuss this as we know more throughout the week. A lot of fans are thinking Sam Howell is going to get the opportunity here over Taylor Heinicke. We're going to tackle that next, but let me finish up on a couple of the bad reasons or the not so good reasons that could come out of this Carson Wentz situation. One, the downfield attack will be very limited, right? I think we all know that. Taylor Heinicke doesn't have the arm strength and the howitzer that Carson Wentz has. I think one other thing that people have forgotten about from last year, which is why they wanted to move on from Taylor Heinicke as a starter, is Taylor Heinicke has a lack of vision and timing. Lack of vision, he's short. And he doesn't see the field great. Neither does Carson Wentz, to be honest with you. The timing, the rhythm, often Taylor Heinicke would be late. And when you don't have arm strength and you're late, you're in trouble. It opens up the possibility that Ron and the brass could say, hey, we didn't get to fairly evaluate Wentz, and that he returns next year when otherwise maybe he wouldn't have. Remember, his contract is easy to get out of. I think that's what's ultimately going to happen anyway. I think if Carson Wentz misses 4, 5, 6 games, whatever it might be, 3 games, I think they're going to say, well, just as he was starting it. No. It shouldn't be, but that's what they're going to say. So to me, I think it opens up Pandora's box in a weird way of Carson Wentz returning maybe even more than if they were to kind of let him play and they were to see the writing on the wall. That's just my spin. That's my opinion. All right, couple of things there. Now, quickly, let's get through the Heinicke-Howell thing. Listen, I know fans want to see Sam Howell. They look around and they see Bailey Zappi with the New England Patriots. I got it. I understand that. Sam Howell was impressive in training camp. Guys, please remember that there's a huge difference between playing in the preseason and in the regular season. There's a huge difference. Not to say that Sam Howell can't eventually be successful. Of course he can. Of course we want him to be. Top pick in the 5th round, apparently a steal, was again very impressive at times during training camp and preseason. However, one thing we should point out, not only the fact that he's a rookie, remember, he hasn't even been getting the normal amount of snaps that he was in the preseason and certainly playing time, and that he was getting in August at training camp because why? NFL teams don't have the amount of snaps available during the practice week. You got to get the starter, Carson Wentz, ready. The limited amount of remaining snap goes to the veteran and the backup, Taylor Heineke, who has been the backup. Sam Howell has been operating scout team, which is fine, which is good, which is helps. He's been in meetings. He's been studying. He's been learning. He's been participating, but he hasn't been getting the reps. Again, to me, I would be stunned if Ron Rivera, especially at 2-4, and clearly not eliminated yet, goes with anybody other than Taylor Heineke if Carson Wentz needs to miss games, which again is common sense and is expected, right? I would be stunned. I can't say no chance. I can't say 0% by any stretch, but I would be stunned. I know you guys are going to disagree with that. I know some of that is old school thinking. I know Bailey Zappi has proven otherwise in New England, but for every Bailey Zappi, there's other cases. You know, you look at Kenny Pickett, who struggled before he got knocked out with a concussion on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he had struggled before that. He had struggled last week in Buffalo. He'd struggled when he first came into a game. I mean, it happens when guys aren't taking the snap, and it's a hard game to play, as we know, even if you are getting all of the snaps, right? So that is a major problem when it comes to starting Sam Howell as opposed to Taylor Heineke. Again, I can't rule it out, but I would be absolutely shocked. All right, when we return for our final segment, Jerry Jones weighs in on Dandy Dan and a quick look at what's ahead. That's next right here on the Locked On Commanders podcast. But first, we tell you about our friends from Prize Picks. That's right. Prize Picks is awesome. Prize Picks and prizepicks.com, whether you're on the app, your browser, what have you, they are daily fantasy made fun, easy, and awesome. And it's quick to play, right? Here's what you do. You're going to go to prizepicks.com. You're going to go to your app. Pick between 2 and 5 players once you've signed up with your account and all that. If they score more or less, whatever the Prize Picks projection is, it could be passing yards, it could be touchdowns, it could be rushing yards, it could be catches, it could be sacks, whatever it is. And all players are available for Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, college, pro, what have you. Whatever game, whatever players you're into, and whatever you think you know, Prize Picks is going to have a projection. And again, if you go more, you're going to win your money if they go more, right? That's how it works. So again, pick between 2 and 5 players from any sport. We mentioned, of course, the NFL, college football, the NHL is back. The baseball playoffs continue right along. You know the deal. NASCAR still going at it. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less, guys. It's really easy. I mean, if you're just a guy that kind of goes with a hunch, Prize Picks is perfect for you. You can sign up and play daily fantasy sports in an instant. First-time users can receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks is going to give you $50. Don't forget to use the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100, just like your boy did. I play Prize Picks, and so should you. All right, wrapping up the Locked On Commanders podcast, and we do this with a look at a story that came out on Friday. So Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys owner, joins my buddy Sean Sharif and RJ Choppy on their show on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas every week. And he did so on Friday, which was fortunate timing for the boys because we had the Dan Snyder report on Thursday. We did a full special edition that is available. You can get our thoughts on that. We're just not, mixing it, or we weren't going to mix it with the game stuff that David did on Friday. Jerry Jones basically denied any rift, basically denied anything to do with anything, saying, quote, anything in that was news to me. I don't have those kinds of problems. Yes, Jerry, we understand you don't have the problems that Dan Snyder has. You may not be much better of a person than Dan, but you actually have a pretty good football team. You have no problem selling tickets. You're the most iconic, popular franchise in North American sports, period. Of course, you might remember Snyder said allegedly to an associate that he had dirt on Jones and that Jones better watch out. Jones had apparently said to someone that he might not be able to protect Dan because there was so much damage, so on and so forth. So it seemed like a little you-know-what contest between the two, right? Now, the league meetings come up this week. There's no vote. There was never going to be any votes. Stop with that nonsense. Enough. That's ridiculous. Absurd that anybody thought they were going to have a vote on Tuesday or Wednesday. Please give me a break. But Jones said to the boys in Dallas that he had not heard of NFL owners wanting to oust Snyder. He said owners are not natural allies, which is fair. He said, I've got a long relationship with Dan. It's certainly a competitive one on the field and one that is a part of the NFL. As you might remember, they did television commercials together once for Papa John's. You might remember they were essentially victims, tag team partners, whatever it is, in 2012 of the salary cap penalties that the NFL and the NFLPA levied down on both the Cowboys and the Commanders, then another team name, I should say. They vacationed together. I've told you time and time and time again since I've been doing this podcast, long before all this stuff came out, that they were best buddies, that they were chummy, and that they would protect, or Jerry would protect Dan's back unless Dan stuck a knife in Jerry's back, right? So what we have here is basically nothing surprising. He said, Jerry, basically, again, pointed out that he's got a lot of respect for other owners and that Dan does as well. And, everything's okay. So I guess we take that as gospel, right? I guess we take that as truth. Make no mistake about it. Dan probably has stuff on Jerry that he's holding on to. All right. A quick look at the Green Bay Packers, who are next at FedEx Field Sunday afternoon at 1:00 Eastern time. They came off of an embarrassing loss at Lambeau Field to the New York Jets. Not that the Jets won, but the way it happened. One-sided, the Packers were never really in it. Look, they're now 3-3, and they've lost 2 in a row, including to the New York Giants, the resurgent Giants in London, blowing a big lead. They didn't play terribly on defense by any stretch of the imagination on Sunday. They only allowed 278 rushing yards. 278 yards, but 179 net rushing yards. So almost all of the Jets' damage came on the ground. Breece Hall, guys like that. Where they did play terrible is Aaron Rodgers, not good. Offensive line, interior push. They got sacked 4 times, plenty of pressure, especially again on the interior, which should suit the Washington Commanders very well with Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. And as well, they were wretched on special teams, which was a big-time problem last year when Green Bay and Matt LaFleur fired their special teams coordinator and brought in Rich Bisaccia, the former Vegas Raiders interim head coach and longtime ST coordinator. And things had been better. And then today or Sunday, they went from better to way worse. They had a punt blocked and returned for a pick 6. They had a field goal attempt blocked. And on the very first play of the game, Aaron Rodgers nearly threw a pick 6 to Sauce Gardner, and it initially was ruled a pick 6, but the ball, the very tip of the ball, had hit the ground. So again, Aaron Rodgers wasn't very good. The offensive line wasn't very good. The special teams were awful, and Green Bay is now 3-3 and heading to Washington. More on that game, of course, crossover Thursday throughout the week, and David and I will weigh in on our different episodes again throughout the week, and we'll have our final picks. Will the Commanders actually get the benefit of the doubt because of how bad the Green Bay Packers have looked? That's all coming up later on this week, guys. Again, We appreciate you for making the Locked On Commanders podcast your first listen and view of the day. Now make your second listen and view the Peacock and Williamson NFL show. Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson give you the expert NFL analysis in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to hop in, it's 301-615-3577. That's 301-615-3577. For David Harrison, covering the Washington Commanders for SI.com's Commander Country, I'm Chris Russell, one half of the Russell and Medhurst show on the Team 980 and the Audacy app. Thank you for joining us right here on the Locked On Commanders podcast.